Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something important today. Perfection is a myth, but progress is real. Too many people are sitting on the sidelines, waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions. And guess what? That moment never comes. Success is not about waiting for perfection. It's about moving forward, step by step. You don't have to be perfect to start, but you do have to start to become great. Think about the farmer. He doesn't wait for the perfect season to plant his seeds. He works with what he has. If he waited for the perfect weather, he'd never have a harvest. Your life works the same way. You have to plant, water, and tend to your goals, even if the conditions aren't ideal. Too many people let fear stop them. Fear of failure, fear of looking foolish, fear of not being good enough. But let me tell you, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the path to success. If you aim for perfection, you may never finish anything. But if you aim for progress, you'll build momentum, gain confidence, and grow. Success comes from small, consistent steps. The key is to start, adjust as you go, and keep learning. Done is better than perfect because perfect never gets done. So here's my challenge to you. Start now. Improve as you go. Celebrate every step forward because progress is the real key to success. Now go make it happen. Success isn't about making one perfect move. It's about making the right moves over and over again. It's not about having the perfect plan from day one. It's about adjusting, learning, and improving as you go. Too many people think they need to have everything figured out before they start. They believe they need the perfect strategy, the perfect timing, the perfect conditions, and because perfection never comes, they never start. But success doesn't work that way. Success is built on small, consistent actions, repeated daily. It's built in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when there's no immediate reward. It's built in the decision to show up, to do the work, to stay disciplined, even when motivation fades. Look at any great achievement and you'll see a pattern. Repetition, consistency, persistence. A champion athlete doesn't win because of one perfect game. They win because of years of training, thousands of hours of practice, and an unshakable commitment to daily improvement. A thriving business isn't built overnight. It's built through steady effort, learning from mistakes, and showing up every single day. Some people hesitate to take action because they're afraid of making mistakes, but mistakes are part of the process. If you wait for flawless execution, you'll never take the first step. The road to success is paved with imperfect attempts, corrected course, and lessons learned. Every step forward, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goal. The key is to commit to progress, not perfection, to take small steps even when you don't feel ready, to stay consistent even when the results don't show immediately, because over time, those small steps add up. Those daily disciplines compound, and before you know it, you've built something extraordinary, not because you did it perfectly, but because you did it consistently. The people who reach the highest levels of success don't chase perfection, they chase improvement. They understand that perfection is an illusion, but progress is something they can control every single day. If you look at the most successful individuals in any field, you'll notice a common pattern. They don't wake up trying to be perfect. They wake up trying to be better than they were yesterday. Whether it's in business, sports, relationships, or personal growth, they focus on small, daily improvements. And over time, those small improvements lead to massive success. Imagine someone who wants to get in shape but refuses to go to the gym because they don't know the perfect workout routine. They spend weeks, months, even years researching, waiting for the perfect plan, instead of just starting with what they know. Meanwhile, someone else shows up, does something, even if it's not perfect, and keeps going. A year later, who's in better shape? Not the one who waited for perfection, but the one who took action and improved along the way. This applies to every area of life. A person who focuses on getting 1% better every day will outperform the person waiting for perfection every time, because improvement compounds. Small wins add up, and the greatest achievers understand that if they keep improving, excellence becomes inevitable. So instead of asking, how can I be perfect? Ask, how can I improve today? That's the real key to success. Not waiting for the perfect moment, not waiting until you have all the answers, but making progress day by day, step by step, until one day you look back and realize just how far you've come. Fear has a way of stopping people before they even begin. It whispers in their ear, what if you're not good enough? What if you make a mistake? What if people judge you? And so they hesitate, they overthink, they wait for the perfect time, the perfect skills, the perfect circumstances. But while they wait, life moves on. Opportunities pass them by. And in the end, they never fail because they never tried. Failure isn't the real enemy. Failure teaches. Failure builds resilience. Failure moves you forward. The real enemy is the fear of imperfection because it paralyzes people before they take the first step. It keeps them stuck in their own mind, waiting for some magical moment when they'll feel fully prepared. But that moment never comes. Look at the most successful people in the world. They weren't perfect when they started. They weren't experts on day one. They made mistakes. They stumbled. They had setbacks, but they kept moving forward. They understood that imperfection is part of the process, not something to be afraid of. If you let the fear of imperfection control you, you'll never take action. You'll spend your life on the sidelines, watching others move ahead while you wait for the right moment. But if you accept that imperfection is a necessary step on the road to success, then you'll free yourself to grow, to learn, and to achieve more than you ever thought possible. So don't let the fear of making a mistake keep you from making progress. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Because in the end, those who take imperfect action will always be miles ahead of those who never started. Life doesn't wait for you to have the perfect plan. The clock keeps ticking, the world keeps moving, and opportunities don't sit around waiting for you to feel ready. Too many people get stuck in the cycle of planning, overanalyzing, and second-guessing. They convince themselves that once they have everything figured out, then they'll start. But while they're waiting, someone else is already in motion, learning, growing, and gaining ground. The truth is, there's no such thing as a perfect plan. You can research, prepare, and strategize all you want, but at some point you have to take action. Plans change, unexpected challenges come up, and no matter how much you prepare, experience is the best teacher. The people who win in life aren't the ones who had the perfect strategy from day one. They're the ones who are willing to start, adjust as they go, and figure things out along the way. Think about the person who wants to start a business but spends years perfecting their idea, fine-tuning every detail, waiting for the right time. Meanwhile, someone else with half the knowledge but twice the courage starts today. They make mistakes, they face setbacks, but they keep moving. A few years later, one is successful and the other is still waiting for perfection. Action creates momentum. Movement leads to opportunities. Waiting leads to nothing. If you hesitate too long, you'll look around and realize that the people who were once right beside you have moved ahead, simply because they had the courage to start. So don't get stuck in the trap of waiting for the perfect plan. Start where you are, take the first step, and trust that you can adjust as you go, because while others are waiting, you could already be winning. How many great ideas have been buried because someone was waiting for perfection? How many dreams have been postponed? How many goals have been set aside? All because someone kept saying it's not ready yet. The truth is, perfection is a moving target. You never quite reach it. And while you're chasing it, time keeps passing, opportunities slip away, and nothing gets finished. The real secret to success is this: done is better than perfect. Because perfect never gets done. The person who takes imperfect action, who puts their work out into the world even when it's not flawless, who keeps moving forward despite the rough edges, that's the person who wins. Think about the writer who spends years rewriting the first chapter of a book but never finishes the story. The entrepreneur who keeps tweaking their business plan but never launches. The person who dreams of getting in shape but spends months researching the best workout instead of just exercising. Meanwhile, someone else with less knowledge, less preparation, but more action has already written the book, launched the business, and transformed their health. Not because they were perfect, but because they got it done. The world doesn't reward perfection, it rewards results. It rewards the people who take action, who put in the effort, who show up and do the work even when it's not ideal. Because here's the secret: you can always improve, refine, and adjust later, but only if you've started. So stop waiting for everything to be just right. Stop holding back because you're afraid it's not perfect. Get it done. Put it out there. Learn from the process. Because something finished, even if it's flawed, is always more valuable than something that never sees the light of day. Mastery isn't something you wake up with one day. It's not a switch you flip or a talent you're born with. It's something you build step by step over time. And the people who achieve mastery understand one simple truth. It's about progress, not perfection. Too many people get discouraged because they think they have to be great from the start. They believe that if they're not naturally gifted, if they don't get everything right the first time, then maybe they're just not meant to do it. But that's not how mastery works. Nobody starts as an expert. Nobody gets it all right on day one. Every master was once a beginner. Every expert once struggled. Every great success story started with small, imperfect steps. Think about the musician who plays the same scales over and over until one day their fingers move effortlessly across the instrument. The athlete who runs the same drills, makes the same mistakes, but keeps pushing forward. The entrepreneur who launches a business, faces setbacks, learns from experience, and refines their approach. In every case, mastery isn't the result of one perfect moment. It's the result of consistent progress over time. If you demand perfection from yourself, you'll quit too soon. You'll get frustrated when things don't go exactly as planned. But if you focus on progress, on getting a little better every day, on learning from every mistake, on improving step by step, then you'll wake up one day with skills and knowledge that seemed impossible when you started. Mastery isn't for the ones who wait until they're perfect to begin. It's for the ones who start, who stay in the game, and who commit to progress no matter how long it takes. Because if you keep improving, if you keep showing up, if you keep learning, you won't have to chase mastery one day. It will be chasing you. Success is built on movement. It's built on doing, trying, adjusting, and pushing forward. But too many people get stuck in their own heads, thinking instead of doing, planning instead of starting. They analyze every possibility, weigh every option, and before they know it, they've talked themselves out of taking action altogether. The truth is, momentum doesn't come from overthinking, it comes from doing. You can sit on the sidelines and try to figure out the perfect move, but until you step onto the field, nothing changes. You don't get stronger by reading about exercise. You get stronger by lifting the weights. You don't build a business by imagining the perfect strategy. You build it by putting yourself out there, making offers, and learning from experience. Think of a train sitting at a standstill. It takes a huge amount of energy to get it moving at first, but once it picks up speed, it's nearly unstoppable. That's how momentum works. The hardest part is starting, but once you do, things begin to move faster than you ever expected. Doors open, opportunities appear, confidence grows, and suddenly what once felt impossible now feels natural. But if you sit there, overthinking every step, that train never moves. You stay stuck in the same place, watching others pass you by, not because they were smarter, not because they had better ideas, but because they took action while you were still debating. So if you want momentum, stop waiting for the perfect plan. Stop trying to think your way into success. Take the first step and let movement create the answers. Because once you're in motion, the path ahead becomes clearer than any amount of thinking ever could. Confidence isn't something you're given, it's something you build. And the way you build it is by taking action, by stepping forward, by proving to yourself that you can do more than you thought. Every small step, every attempt, every effort moves you closer to your goal and strengthens your belief in yourself. But the opposite is also true. The longer you wait, the more you hesitate, the more doubt starts to creep in. When you take action, even if it's imperfect, you create momentum. You gain experience. You learn what works and what doesn't. And with each step forward, you start to trust yourself more. You start to see results. And before you know it, you're no longer second-guessing yourself. You're moving with purpose. But when you sit back and wait for the perfect moment, what happens? You start questioning everything. What if I fail? What if I'm not ready? What if things don't go as planned? And the longer you wait, the louder those doubts become. Instead of gaining confidence, you lose it. Instead of feeling prepared, you feel stuck. Think about a child learning to ride a bike. If they sit on the bike, afraid to move, they'll convince themselves it's too difficult. But the moment they push the pedals, even if they wobble, even if they fall, they're already ahead of where they were. And with every attempt, their confidence grows. The same principle applies to everything in life. If you want confidence, start moving. Take the first step, even if it's small, because every step forward makes the next one easier. Every bit of progress makes you stronger, and before you know it, You'll be doing things with ease that once seemed impossible. But none of that happens if you wait for perfection. So don't let doubt win. Take action, build confidence, and let progress be your guide. Success doesn't require perfect conditions. It requires action. Too many people delay their dreams because they think they need more resources, more knowledge, more time. They convince themselves that if they just had a little more preparation, then they'd be ready. But life doesn't work that way. If you wait for everything to be perfect, you'll never begin. The real secret is this: start where you are, not where you wish you were, not where someone else is, right here, right now, because where you are is enough to begin. The skills you have today may not be all you need, but they're enough to take the first step. The knowledge you have may not be complete, but it's enough to get started. The resources at your disposal may not be ideal, but they're enough to move forward. History is full of people who started with little, less knowledge, fewer connections, fewer advantages, but they took action anyway. They built as they went. They learned through experience. And because they moved forward despite imperfect conditions, they gained what they needed along the way. Improvement comes from doing. You don't need the perfect plan to begin. You need to begin to create the perfect plan. Experience will teach you what books can't. Action will reveal answers that hesitation never will. Every step you take, no matter how small, gives you clarity. Every effort you make, no matter how rough, sharpens your skill. So don't wait. Start where you are. Use what you have. Improve as you go. Because once you take the first step, you'll realize you had more in you than you ever believed. The biggest mistake people make is waiting. Waiting for the right moment, waiting for the perfect plan, waiting until they feel completely ready. But waiting is a trap, because there is no perfect moment, no flawless plan, no guaranteed readiness. The only way to move forward is to start right where you are with what you have and commit to improving along the way. Too many people convince themselves they need more before they can begin. More money, more time, more experience. But history proves that the greatest successes didn't come from those who had the most. They came from those who did the most with what they had. They weren't the ones who had every resource. They were the ones who made the most of the resources in front of them. Think about a tree. It doesn't wait for the perfect weather to grow. It doesn't ask for better soil or ideal conditions. It grows wherever it's planted, stretching toward the sunlight, adapting to the seasons, and strengthening over time. And that's exactly how success works. You don't need perfect conditions. You need the courage to begin. Your skills will sharpen as you go. Your knowledge will grow as you take action. The experience you gain from starting today will be worth far more than the years you might spend waiting for the right time. Because the truth is, clarity comes from action, not from overthinking. So take the first step. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be forward. Start where you are. Use what you have. Improve as you go. Because everything you need to succeed is already within you. You just have to begin. Too many people put their dreams on hold because they think they need more knowledge, more resources, more confidence. They tell themselves, I'll start when the time is right, but the time is never quite right. Days turn into months, months turn into years, and they're still waiting. But success doesn't work that way. The key is simple. Start where you are, not where you wish you were, not where someone else is, right here, right now. Because where you are today is good enough to begin. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need the best tools or the perfect strategy. You just need to start. The greatest successes in history didn't begin with perfect conditions. They began with people who made the most of what they had. They took the resources available to them, however small, and made them work. They didn't wait for certainty. They stepped forward in faith and figured things out as they went. And that's the second part. Use what you have. Maybe you don't have $1 million, but you have an idea. Maybe you don't have years of experience, but you have determination. Maybe you don't have the best circumstances, but you have a willingness to work. That's enough. Because here's the secret. Improvement comes from action. You don't get better by waiting. You get better by doing. A rough first draft can be improved, but a blank page stays blank. A shaky first step leads to steadier ones, but standing still leads nowhere. Progress isn't made by those who wait. It's made by those who start, adjust, and grow along the way. So, don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start where you are. Use what you have. improve as you go. Because once you take the first step, you'll realize you had everything you needed all along.